especially like through my development stage, and, freshman all the way to senior year. I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe, and then got to connect with you guys. I definitely felt like it would have helped
Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is the OneEyed Scout Show live from the Roof Hub. And I love doing shows in here. And my main man, Mr. Philip Townsend, the sidekick.
What's happening?
Oh man, we're throwing the L's up for Langston University. Just talking about they kicking off the
No,
season down there playing Grambling, down there in the original L of Louisiana. Phil, how you doing, man?
man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And look, I'm just thankful for the Roof Hub allowing us to do the show live from here. It's going to be a great show tonight. I can tell you that, Cass.
Oh man, it's gonna be cool because we're gonna tell facts. We're gonna hurt some feelings, and it's gonna be okay. Because some people, some athletes, some players need some information to further the game. But like you said, man, with the roof get some get some food and enjoy some a little bit, and let's get it rolling, man. So hey, you know what? We're gonna start off right off the bat, man. We got guys that about to win a game, and multiple games that I watched over the weekend where somebody just started hunting for shots, and they wind up losing ball games, man.
You
That's
know it.
crazy to me.
Yes, it is.
They say, where's the leadership, or where's the leadership in these moments? Are we training kids to be finishers or followers? I think that's one of the big topics for the night, man, is kids just don't finish, man. They don't know how to go for the net, and even in the appropriate net. And that's kind of frustrating because I saw it all the way from Hood Hop tournament. I saw it at Gas Show, we saw it at UIBL, we saw it at Puma, we saw it. It was just rampant, man, and it's just crazy, man. But we're gonna sit right here and talk for a minute, Phil, about how do we coach poise and kids not to panic. You know, where do you see that, man?
Well, I tell you, Cass, you see, I'm ready tonight. It's pulling no punches. Something the coaches, the players, and even the parents got to hear. Somebody needs to listen to this when we're talking. First of all, that poise, it's got to come from the coaching staff itself. If they're in a panic, what kind of message are you sending to the player? But even more so, if you've done the work, if you put in the work that you needed to do, then that in itself is going to lend toward you being comfortable in that situation. And look, if you got that intestinal fortitude, it's going to show up then. But preparedness is going to go a long way, like I said, and along with how your coaching staff is approaching it.
And the way I think, now I agree with you, but the way I think that how can we show what it could look like? You know, put a minute 30 on the clock. Let kids let kids play out the game. Go down three, up one with a foul to give, make chaos normal so panic becomes instinct because you know those champion caliber teams and at that point well, they gotta win got somebody that step up, but the really championship caliber teams, it's a calmness in that storm. Where's the leadership? I mean, stop bailing out kids, man. That gets me right there. You know, we talked about it, or I talked about it with a trainer just last night, yesterday, down at the studio, and we were talking about how we want kids or our kids to do so much better than we did, But we didn't have anybody to take away the adversity that taught us that resilience. So we need to let them fall. We need to let them fail in scrimmage. Let them feel that pressure. Then break it down to film and feel blame. But let me teach you something.
Well, Kev, so much of that is like what you just said. When I mentioned about lending yourself to preparedness and
Mhm.
real time, like you're saying, actual, the actual situation, putting your players in actual situations. You know, like how in football, they practice every time they're working on that 2 minute drill, right? Going over and over and over again. That's what you need to do. You need to put your players in real time situations and practice that. So in that moment, they already know what to do. So it's not bigger than what they're used to.
Hey, and you're dead on it, man. Dead on it. And I think whenever we start with kids, we're talking about we got to teach them how to read things. How, if this happens, then we do this. If this happens, we do this. And we're going to come back to this later on because that's one of the ways that if a kid's been developed or if they just doing cone drills. If they're going the same four moves and they're not getting anywhere because they don't have a counter. You know, and one thing that I really believe in is coaches need to sit back in that moment and let your leaders figure it out. If they're panicking, you shouldn't get brought into it. Think about how many times we saw Phil Jackson with the Bulls and Lakers. We saw Pop. We've seen other coaches where we think they should call a timeout and they say pause and they let the players figure it out. They may take an L during the season, but they won't have to teach or reteach that situation again. You know. But one thing you're big about, man, I'll say it, is you start praising the right stuff. So many coaches harp on what you did wrong, but me and you talked about earlier. If you start talking about the things kids did right, then it shifts that focus, man. And the bottom line is poise is taught through quiet reps in the gym. Whether it be closeouts, whether it be you got to make this amount of shots in a minute, this amount of shots in 2 minutes. Those things are all repped out. But
Right.
I don't know, man. Phil, we look around.
Look,
What you got, buddy?
no, Kev, I'm just saying, like you said, why are we focusing so much on what a person can't do, right? They know a weakness.
Yeah,
Talk about what they do good, build them up. Because if you keep tearing that player down, I mean, why are you going to expect him to shine in some of the biggest moments there are? Hit them with that positive stuff, get them feeling good about themselves, and you're going to get better results if I'm feeling better about myself.
yeah, yeah. And then, man, we got to teach kids. Is it the obsession with getting that mixtape vibe, that mixtape highlight, or that causes them to forget the shot clock and the score? Or the clock and the score? Like, what is it? Phil, I watched a kid go 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter while his team lost a 12-point lead. That ain't leadership, man. That's lunacy. Should have
Right.
subbed him in. Should have subbed him out and sent him here to the root pub for a burger. You know. But, but we looking at off season, man. Off season. I don't know about you, man, but we going year round with this stuff, so there ain't no off season for us.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You know. And it's funny because people will just pass off July till September, and all of a sudden, if they didn't take vacations during the AAU time, now it's time for vacation. And I'll stand on this one thing: when is the time for development in the calendar? Because if you playing 3 out of 4 weekends, every weekend. There ain't many kids in the city in this city, Houston, Dallas, in the state, that are good enough to go play every weekend and not develop. I mean, hell, we had to rearrange the combine because season is over, and we got teams that are playing their tournaments still. That's my own preference.
Right.
But when is the development? Because in 2 weeks, in almost 2 weeks, that damn summer ball is gonna start. We're not developing then. I guess I'm
Right.
on a soapbox, but you know,
Yeah. Well, Kev, again, that's what's lending itself to the to the mixed one take, and to let me show you what I can do, and not having that bag, so to speak, right? Just to get straight. I'm going to give you a parallel. Now, let's take Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, greatest highlight player I have ever seen in my life, right? But guess what? He had the bag to go with it, right? But then you take and you look at LeBron James, as plain looking as can be, right? But he's got the bag to get it done. And so it just goes to show you that just because you might not have that mix one handle and look to do it, it doesn't mean you shouldn't just go with what you can do and do it right and play the game right and get it done. You don't have to be a highlight film every time you take the court.
you know what, man? We touched on it a little bit. We're gonna move back to us. We're gonna move back to the one-eye scout and field,
Yes, sir.
and maybe we'll talk about fans for a little bit. But you know, we started off with off season ain't for us. So we made it through our first year in a few months, and we sat back and we talked about how can we push this platform further. And we talked about it in our uh, preparation meeting. And man, I just want to go in and tell people that are on here tonight, we're stepping our game up for next year. We are going to be launching the noon run. You ask, what is the noon run? The noon run is going to be noon run, she runs report. And I can't tell you how excited I am. You know, we talked about earlier and about progress, and I said what I wanted to do, but I wasn't comfortable with it. And now we've kind of found out how we can implement it. And I'm looking forward to giving those girl hoopers, you know, the opportunity, the respect, the even playing field. And we're going to take it a step further. We're going to go 30 minutes. We're going to go 30 to 45 minutes a day, noon hour, 11:45 to 12:30. And it's going to be all girls grassroots hoops. Uh, so I'm excited, man. I'm excited. What do you think, man?
Hey, Kev, I'm a big fan of the girls' game. I think that if there's anybody that wants to learn how to play the game of basketball, watch the girls' game, and that's going to be the best start to how to play basketball that you can get. And I'm just glad that we're taking the time and being pretty much the only noontime daily um, platform that's going to highlight the outstanding play that the girls in San Antonio offer. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great thing. I think it's going to be exciting for them to be able to be on the One Eye Scout show to get a chance to talk about just what they can do and what they're looking forward to doing.
And it's true, man. Like we look around the city, and there are some standout uh, organizations that are continually producing high level female Division One, Division Two basketball players. And you know, it's been cool because I've got to sit back and watch, but never had the courage to kind of step out and do it. But we sat down and said, well, what would be the mission for the new run? Like, what we call it mission statements? I don't really like mission statements, but what's the vision for it? And with the new run, it's going to be it, we're going to exist to spotlight, support, and elevate high school and grassroots basketball here in San Antonio in the South Texas, and deliver consistent midday coverage that breaks the silence around undercovered athletes, offering honest evaluations, real exposure, and a platform that respects the grind of female hoopers. And as always, powered with a platform with TAN TV, and it's just that simple. You know, I'm excited, man, because you know we've got the platform. We've already demonstrated what we can do, how we can do, and the relationships that we can build. And we're not trying to supplant anyone. We're just putting our own spin on it. And I'm just really excited, really excited. And one of the things, people ask me often, you know, how does TAN support you? Because they do such a good job of supporting you and I out there in front of them. But why don't you talk a little bit about how TAN supports us?
Well, Kev, like you said, number one, they give us the platform, but not only just the platform, but the ability and the freedom to run the show the way that we choose to run the show. And that's the
Hmm.
big thing about it. You don't have to worry about that censorship because we're going to self censor ourselves. And so to have that freedom and not worry about someone being a helicopter parent and hoovering over us all the time and what we're going to do or what we're going to say, that's the that's the really big freedom part to it. And that has to be a shout out to the proprietor, Laura, and also to the COO fans. So it's just good to be working on the TAN TV platform, and I'm excited about it. Matter of fact, Kev, you know I have to be excited about the noon run and the female basketball in the city because there isn't anyone that doesn't know you don't call me before 1 o'clock p.m. and expect me to be doing anything because I'm still in bed sleep. So this is worth getting up for.
And that's a quick hashtag facts on that one. But man, one thing, this isn't a shot at anybody else, but we was talking earlier about why do some platforms only show up during tournament season, and I think there's several reasons for that. But one, you know, you spoke about it. We get the airtime, we get the support, we get the media passes, we get all the background work, so we just get to go out and look like it's super easy, But it is long nights, and it is watching games, evaluating, speaking truth. But I do think that a lot of people they don't get a chance to see the underdog story. If they're not really in the gym looking for it, when nobody else is in that gym, And so those are the people that I like whenever he or she gets that opportunity, because you know girls are in the gym just as much as boys. Now I say some more,
Right.
but that's how we're gonna roll with that one, man.
Well,
And
Kev, I got to say, Kev, I'll be remiss if I didn't let the viewing public know that, look, I feel strongly about the women's game, but it took your vision, Kevin Howell, the one-eyed scout, to bring this to fruition. And so I'm just happy that you saw it as a worthwhile enough situation to put it on this platform of CAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local field with a global reach. And I'm just glad that it's going to be able to be out there for the people to see how dynamic the young ladies are when it comes to playing basketball in San Antonio.
all right, and I appreciate it, but you know they hoop too, And whenever we look back at the core values of the One Eye Scout was to see the unseen, to bring exposure to the unseen, and it was just right. And you know who kind of pushed the button a little bit was Coach Jackson at Wagner. Uh, because we kind of talked about it at the end of the year about making some advancements for this upcoming season, and that kind of started the thought process. Uh, but hey, man, we're in the dog days of summer now. You know, players, got, I don't want to say kids, athletes, student athletes, they're getting ready for the school days are coming up pretty soon. So let's just throw out, 3 or 4 things that they can do to keep that positive momentum, right? Standing out in front of coaches, and I think one of the biggest things that a student athlete can do right now is posting on social media with a purpose. You know, if you don't really do social media, sometimes you become invisible. And athletes really don't understand that because they're in that super cool culture. Like I can't overpost because they're gonna say I'm trying too hard. I can't do this because somebody's gonna say something. Well, you know what? That that 2 to 5% that really make it in life, they don't give a dadgum burn what somebody else has to say. You can figure in any adjectives you want to put in there, but drop a clean highlight clip, a training rep. You know, don't disappear just because the season ended because you don't want a big gap in coverage. And man, I can tell you what, I could probably if off air name you 10 players right now that are 4 star or above, and you look on their social media
Yeah.
and they've got like 8 to 10 posts. And what athletes don't understand is that's part of your NIL drive. You got big followings, you're gonna have a different NIL opportunity than the next person because more companies, more products, they want you to work with them. You know, uh, I've got a big show coming up on Truth in the Trenches coming up probably this coming up week, uh, Monday week. It's going to talk really for hone in on Twitter and social media for recruiting purposes. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this nugget out there for you. Go ahead and have a coach ready Twitter profile, X profile. Have your bios, you have your name, class, position, school, height, and a link to your film. Just don't have no mess and no drama on there because I promise you, there's no coach in America that's gonna scroll past your drama to see your stat line somewhere. So you got anything to throw in there, Phil?
Well, Kev, look, highlights are always exciting, your dunks and all of that, but you got to have more than that. You know what I'm saying? Look, video yourself working on your weaknesses, right? Offhand dribble, just, you know, read and reacts, closeouts. Just show something more than just a highlight dunk or something so the coaches can have the opportunity to see it. Show that development.
Phil, I really think some of these people probably should just get in their car, drive over to the roof hub, pull out a napkin, and start writing down some of these notes we're giving them. Golden nuggets, I say, golden nuggets. But, a coach can always tell within just a few possessions if you think the game or you just rep the game. And that's going to come out, if you get in a spot, you get bumped and you froze. If you got 4 moves with no counter, then they're gonna know. So that's why I want guys and ladies to get in the gym and work with a truth teller. Work with somebody that's going to kick you in the ass. Because I read somewhere, and I wish I could remember where it was right now, but they said with the money that is going out to NIL opportunities right now, you would be a fool not to find a coach or trainer that's going to push your kid to the nth degree, toughness, all those things to get in the position to earn that NIL. Somebody's got to earn it, So one place, the Doghouse, I know Greg Bowie, I know Tim Springer, I know a few of those guys that push that, but that's just facts, man. But I do want to talk about the watch list. You know, uh, we're rocking and rolling, and then back-to-back live period weekends. So I'll let the guys do their thing. I didn't want nobody thinking about something else. But jumping right back in the saddle, you know, uh, right off the bat, we got Sawyer Dotson coming in. He was part of that Texas Impact. He just won their circuit championship. He's in the playoffs. He's a top-notch player. Then we got Alex Elliott from Alamo Heights. 6'5", 6'6", tough. What's interesting, man?
Good coaching.
He started doing. Really good coaching. But he started doing something that I thought was interesting, man. He started having film, like cutting up film of him guarding post players, just the film of his assists, just the film of him rebounding, just of him defending the wing. I thought that was pretty interesting, man, because we're always talking about if your highlight starts off with a defensive clip, then we're probably going to watch more of it. And another one you got to shout out is DJ Jordan. That joker put together, I think, a minute and a half, 2-minute clip. You know what it was? Him taking charges. He broke the career record, his junior year. You got a whole another season to feel that. And then, one of the faves within the watch list is Isaiah Ward. He's going to come back on with us Monday. Just real charismatic dude.
For sure.
We talked about Shark Week's coming up, man. And I know certain sickos like that. And people like me are just tolerate it, but the wife likes it, so I guess I like it. And then, but Coach Springer, Tim Springer, he's going to be on another episode of Truth in the Trenches. Man, he always drops bombs and nuggets on getting right, But, real development isn't flashy, Phil. You know that. Just like the plates at the brunch spot, quality every time. Hit them grits, Phil.
Can't touch them. Can't touch them. Can't look at them.
Man, we're going to shut it down, Phil. It's been a great environment here. We got to bounce a little bit with the music. I always like that, but we've been honest today. And if it stung, maybe it's because it's true and you needed to hear it. Stop running in circles with bad habits and start building something real. Because nobody gets better by accident, Phil.
I know that's right.
On the way.
It's coming.
So, ladies, get ready. TAAN is pushing it, and we're covering it. Big thanks to the Roof Hub for giving us the microphone opportunity.
Thank you much, Roof Hub.
And we'll say it again loud for the back row. It ain't for everybody.
No.
All right, Mr. Producer, take us on out.
Said I was just wish like I would have you guys sooner. You know what I mean? Like especially like through my development stage.